Good morning. Happy Thursday. We have had a great week of answering the discussion questions and a pretty great week of answering the super sentences. We still have some friends that I know aren't listening to the morning message or reading the directions because they're still only writing one sentence, even though today you have to write one sentence. All right, so Dreambox, pretty good. I don't know what's happening. 18, 20, 13, 18, and 20, you guys got to get up on it, right? Because you've missed a few days. All righty. Let's go into yesterday. So I was wondering why I had so many people that were telling me that Susan James' mom was, or Derek's mom was angry and upset. And I didn't understand how they were writing that. And then I saw that only 12 people had viewed yesterday's reading. And then it makes sense. You answered the question without reading it. Let me play something for you really quick. I'm going to put this in each of your mailboxes that didn't.
Hiking, seeing friends, visiting museums. But for the rest of this trip, we do nothing. And it's 100 times better. When I tell my parents, they agree. For my mom, Susan James drowning on her own and me being alive equals less stress for everyone involved. She lets me eat fish, chips, wrapped in paper, and doesn't wipe the tartar sauce off my chin. She just laughs when I ask if I can run through the golf course in my underwear at night. It's almost as if that newspaper article had taken root in a small corner of my mother's brain, and finding out what really happened has somehow dissolved that tiny growth, freeing Mom up from many other things. So here, dissolved means it's taken it away. It's gone. It's like when you put sugar in water. All of a sudden it disappears, right? It becomes liquid. So,
all right, so here we go. Pretty much tells you, Mom's stress is lifted off her. She feels better. She's laughing. She's giggling. They're not even making plans. She always is over planning, right? So when I went into Dreambox, we have some people. I think the author means that everything was good and right, but then all of a sudden everything went wrong. It was so confusing. This person, I think, answered the moron one where perfect, but I don't know that because they didn't restate the question. If I go here, the news of Susan James' death affected her by making her sad and made her cry. Really? Did it make her cry in this chapter? The new information about she felt betrayed and lied to, she did last chapter, but what did she feel in this chapter, right? Made her feel free. Good job, Jason. That one I don't think really kind of tied to it either. Ramel did a good job. Whoever expects perfect to stick around as a moron meant that it is nothing is forever and nothing is perfect. Nothing can stay the same, right? So even though you have good things, and honestly, the bad things make you appreciate the good things even more, right? The reason is she could think it was her daughter and see how heartbreaking it is. All right, did that happen in this chapter? It didn't. But I do like how he used the number word right here. Nice job. If you go back in and look, Samuel's answer is awesome. Azria got it. The mom feels better, right? Definitely the mom feels better. She was sad but happy that her son didn't die. They did say that, but how else was she feeling? She was feeling really great, right? This person only wrote one sentence. So remember, you have to write 2 to 3 sentences. All right. She was upset but delighted that her son wasn't dead. That gets it, but how do we know she was delighted? What information from the story? She was feeling bad. Here she was able to remove the guilt. So some of you did it. So I'm wondering how some of you answered this. I'm thinking some of you are looking at the question and saying, oh, I don't need to read this section. But right there in that beginning, what we just listened to showed it, right? Alrighty, let's get to today's lessons. Now, some people have been working hard all week, got a little note in their mailbox, but there's about 9 of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of you. 8 of you that got a little note in your mailbox. All right, week 10 assignments. We're going to go to Thursday. Here you write one. How many? One. One super sentence. Oh, that was two. One super sentence. And just look around your room. I don't want you to tell me what you see around your room, like I see a pot with a plant in it. No. You have to write a super sentence. Super sentence is compound or complex. So my flowers are leaning down because of the rainfall that happened last night. Right? All right. So now we get to the question. And I have some details to help you out. So think about the characters. See that S? That's plural. Problems. See that S? It's plural. And resolution. See that S? It's plural. That means you have to talk about more than one. What was the author's purpose in creating them? Remember, the written response should not be one sentence. Cite information from the text to support your answer and explain it so that your answer could be understood by anybody reading it. Now, think about the author's characters, problems, and resolutions. What was the author's purpose in creating them? Now, if you remember when we were learning how to write a story, you have to have an event that leads to your next event, right? And that's kind of what these problems are. There's little problems that lead to the next event, and it's how the author is creating the story, right? It's how the author is tying everything together. So, I have some ideas. So if you look here, we know Derek had a bunch of problems. I just came up with a few last night. Derek doesn't like reading. What was the resolution? He learned strategies to help him like reading, right? He learned to imagine. It was like a movie in his head. He also learned to draw out the pictures, right? He used his, he used the drawing to help with the vocabulary. Derek wants to go to Martha's Vineyard and solve the mystery of Susan James. The problem is his mom doesn't want him to go. The resolution was they got to go. He solved the mystery. His mom's relieved of her guilt. So a lot of good things happened, right? Problem, Derek lets Pedro out of the cage. But if he didn't let Pedro out of the cage, guess what? He would have never met Michael, which ends up helping with his dad's problem. Dad's problem is he's feeling like he can't keep up with those younger animators, right? Well, Derek meets Michael, learns this program that can help his dad. And now his dad's going to start learning it with him. The mom her problem was she couldn't keep Derek occupied and out of trouble. So what does she do? She sends Derek to camp. When Derek's at camp, he learns how to like reading a little bit more, right? Derek is causing, or the drawing, he gets better in perfecting it, right? Derek is causing a lot of problems because he wants to know about Susan James. Mom finally tells him. Carrying the grief and guilt, she's carrying that grief and guilt. That's a problem that she's had on her shoulders. She didn't really want to tell Derek about this. But now she's able to forgive Mrs. James and let it go. She feels lighter, right? Carly had a problem. It was the hamster died, right? And she was really upset. Well, Derek helped her with that grief and also helps plant the flowers to remember it by. Their friendship gets better. Lauren was holding on that guilt for not telling the truth for all those years. Well, she tells the truth, which helps Derek and his mom. So all these problems in the story help move the story along and help lead it to another one, right? It's building a really great story, in a sense, right? So what's the author's purpose? To make a really good story. And a really good story has to have an event that leads to another event. And a lot of times that can be the problems, right? Now, if I want to talk about theme, the theme of the story, I think, is Derek and his reading, right? Derek definitely, throughout the book, is finding ways to appreciate reading and understand and like it a little bit better. Alrighty, I hope this helps you with answering your question today. I'm hoping that you give me a couple of details. I'm going to read to you Naraya's because she had already done it. She said the author's purpose in creating the characters' problems and resolutions is for story development. Now think about that. She restated the entire question. All the problems help me understand the characters in the story better, and it makes the story come to life. Perfect, right? For instance, when Derek meets Lauren Hutchinson and she tells the real story of Susan James' death, it solves the mystery and relieves the grief that him and his mom have been carrying around. Another example is when Derek kept bothering his mother about going to Martha's Vineyard, and it gave Derek's parents a chance to spend a romantic date together on the beach, right? So and then she talks about taking Peter out of the cage. He would have never met Pedro's owner, Michael, and learned how to animate his drawings and made the connection with his dad. I think every story needs problem solutions because it makes the story better. And then she gives her conclusion. In conclusion, if the story did not have these problems, Derek's character would have solved the mystery of student James. He would not have gotten closer with his dad and relieved his mother's grief she was carrying around. So all the problems led to just creating the story. Notice, when you read Noraya's example, think about the effort that you're putting in and the effort that she put in. There's a big difference in some of you. Remember, when you're writing a written response, we do not only write one sentence. You're proving to me that you read the story. And as I saw yesterday, not everybody's reading the story. So I just want to show you, this was from Tuesday. Look how many views this had on Tuesday, right? 23.
Hi friends, it's Monday. Today we're reading pages 156 to 1.